I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president.
A live look this morning at the White House, where former President Trump is now president-elect. The Electoral College count as of right now is 277 Trump to 224 Harris. Trump won key battleground states, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, which pushed him over the edge. That race called about 15 minutes ago. Harris won Minnesota and New Hampshire. Trump is ahead in Arizona and Nevada, which have not yet been called.
So this would be just the second time in history since Grover Cleveland in the late 1800s that a president is elected to serve 2 non-consecutive terms. Around 2:30 this morning, Trump spoke to his supporters in West Palm Beach, Florida, telling them he'd operate under this motto: promises made, promises kept.
We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly. We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that.
And again, that was former President Trump, now president-elect, speaking to his supporters. This right here is a look at Howard University. That is Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign chair this morning, telling her supporters who were there waiting for her that she would not be speaking last night.
Yeah, 7 News reporter Joy Wang is live on the campus of Howard University this morning. We do expect to hear from the VP later today, Joy.
Harris's campaign co-chair says that the vice president will be addressing not just the Howard University community, but also her supporters and the nation later today. Speaking of those supporters, this event here turned really quickly from a celebration to a whole lot of concern, especially as polls started to close for those blue wall states. Election results started to roll in, and we were seeing more and more results from Michigan, Pennsylvania, as well as Wisconsin. So let's walk you through election night right now, because a lot has changed since then. It started off with, again, that celebration that we were mentioning. A lot of people dancing. There was a gospel choir, and people were very excited to be here at this watch party at Howard University. But then around 6 o'clock, after all of those celebrations, the mood started to shift when results from Georgia started to come in, and you could feel the mood shift, the crowd staying confident as Harris had a lead in blue wall states. But then as former President Donald Trump's electoral votes started to go up in those red states, even though that was expected, the mood continued to change. People were also getting tired around midnight with North Carolina called and more results from Pennsylvania coming in, along with information on turnout in big cities such as Milwaukee and Detroit. People started to trickle out. We were initially told Kamala Harris was going to come out and speak last night, but eventually a co-chair of the campaign gave us an update saying we wouldn't hear from her until today. Take a listen.
Thank you for believing in the promise of America. We still have votes to count. We still have states that have not been called yet. We will continue overnight to fight to make sure that every vote is counted, that every voice has spoken.
Of course, since then, ABC News already projecting that former President Donald Trump will now be the 47th president of the United States. So a lot has changed since we got that last update, but we are still expecting to hear from Harris later on today at Howard University. We'll send things back to you.
And I'm at the alert desk right now. I'm focusing on more of the undecided races, right? So there are 2 that we're watching very closely for you this morning: Maryland House District 6 and Virginia House District 7. I want to start with the race between Democrat April Delaney and Republican Neil Parrott. So these are results. These are from WJLA.com. I've got our interactive election results up right now. You can see just a few hundred votes are separating the 2, right? So there is not a lot of room right there. Now, something else I'm noticing is like both candidates have told 7 News that they are cautiously optimistic. At this moment, Delaney has a slight lead, but many of those of the mail-in ballots have yet to be counted. So those are going to be coming in. I do want to take a look as well at House District 7 in Virginia. And this is between Democrat Eugene Vindman and Republican Derek Anderson. Now, there is a much bigger discrepancy here. We have Vindman ahead by more than 8,000 votes. These results were updated very recently, 5:57, but we're still waiting for this to officially be called. According to AP, though, 100% of precincts are reporting.
Lindsay, thank you. To history made in Maryland now. Prince George's County Executive Angela Alsobrooks will become the state's first black woman elected to the U.S. Senate.
And she defeated popular former Republican two-time Governor Larry Hogan, 52% to his 45. 7 News' John Gonzalez is live for us in Germantown this morning with reaction from both sides of the ticket. John, good morning.
Adriana, good morning. Prince George's County Executive Angela Alsobrooks this morning is waking up as U.S. Senator-elect. Angela Alsobrooks, she wins, declared the winner in this crucial, very expensive race here in Maryland as she took on former Governor Larry Hogan. And as Adam mentioned there, she now will become Maryland's first black senator. Now, we caught up with Angela Alsobrooks early yesterday morning when she arrived to vote in Upper Marlboro. She arrived with her daughter Alex, who was voting yesterday for the first time, and she told me that she was feeling grateful and optimistic. Now, she fought, and this was a very expensive race, both raising millions for this congressional race. Now, we can tell you that she grew up in Prince George's County, has had various roles in government. After graduating from Duke University and the University of Maryland School of Law, Alsobrooks worked as a law clerk in the Howard County Circuit Court and then in Baltimore City Circuit Court. Now, following her victory last night, Hogan stated on X that he wanted to congratulate the county executive and that regardless of who Marylanders voted for, he can take pride in the election of the first black woman to represent Maryland in the U.S. Senate. Last night, Alsobrooks, who also served as Prince George's County State's Attorney for 8 years, claimed victory after months on the campaign trail. She was on stage with her daughter.
That's who she is. Determined, committed, and always putting others first. As she steps into this next chapter in her life as the U.S. Senate, I have no doubt in my mind that she'll bring that same drive, fighting for a better tomorrow for your families.
Alex should know that I first ran for public office because of her. And I ran for the Senate because of all of you, for the young people and the elders of our country, about the future that you one day will inherit, and the country that I know we all can be.
Now, Governor Wes Moore has released a statement saying that Maryland is better because of Angela Alsobrooks, and the United States Congress will be better because of her presence, too. Reporting live in Germantown this morning, John Gonzalez, 7 News.
Thank you, John. Phil, from what we are seeing so far, it appears as though Republicans are overperforming in this election cycle, especially when we talk about the balance of power in the Senate. Democrats had a number of seats that they had to defend if they wanted to retain their extremely slim majority. But as you can see right now, it is already projected that Republicans are going to be taking over the Senate. Of course, right here, picking up West Virginia. The other states out there that right now are too close to call are all favoring the Republican candidate. So we're talking about Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Nevada. The only state right now that has a Democrat leading in a race, that one of those too close to call races, that would be in Arizona. Current Congressman Ruben Gallego there with the lead over former news anchor Carrie Lake. In the House of Representatives, it is just as tight. This is still too close to call. Of course, a couple of the key races from our area will be crucial in determining control of the House. So we're talking about that District 6 race in Maryland and the District 7 race in Virginia. I also want to take you through now, because this is something that we haven't showed you yet so far this hour, about how each of the presidential candidates performed in specific areas in our area. So we're going to look at right now, we'll pick Montgomery County and how Kamala Harris did there. How about Frederick County, which is notoriously a purple county in our area? You can see extremely close, just by a margin of about 2,000 votes. And then we skip over to Virginia. One county that I always keep a close eye on is in Stafford County, because that tends to be a bellwether here. You can see right now only a difference of about 300 votes between the presidential candidates in Stafford County. Adriana.
All right, Adam, thank you. Well, there are a lot of takeaways from this election cycle. Associate Professor of Media and Public Affairs at George Washington University, Peter Lowe's, joins us this morning for your insight. Always a pleasure talking to you. Piggybacking on what Adam just gave us, the Senate flipping, that of course gives President-elect Trump an easier path to fleshing out his cabinet. What are you hearing about the House, though?
The House gets trickier. We're waiting on some important races in California that could go either way. Looks like it's a good night for Republicans, so those could break to the Republicans, and there's a chance the Republicans could keep the majority. Either way, it'll be a slim majority. We're one case of long COVID away from power of shifting hands in the House.
Okay, we were talking during the commercial break about Trump winning the popular vote. The first time for a Republican president in a while, you said, since George W. Bush. But he outperformed his 2020 results in the popular vote by about 3%. And even when you get into these counties and cities in the battleground states that Biden won handily, Trump really did close the gap there. What does that say about what people are thinking?
I think people are really concerned about the economy, right? It's gas and groceries, right? A lot of people are saying they don't really like Trump or his approach, but they're really concerned about being able to afford college tuition or a house or gas and groceries.
Okay. What is next? And we were talking about this before in terms of, yes, people want to be able to afford easy things, groceries and gas. But what do you think voters are going to realize once Trump is in power, in office?
I think some folks are going to be surprised that they voted for Trump and then it turns out that's who they elected. He said he would keep his promises. That means 200% tariffs, which is going to rack up prices. He wants to put Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in charge of health care, and he wants to ban mayonnaise and Doritos. You know, I think the difference between the rhetoric and the reality is going to be a bit stark, and I think the House and the Senate might then try to intervene, try to shape things because they're going to see their political futures on the line. All
right, Peter Loge is going to be back with us in our next half hour to really give us some insight on our local races. Peter, thank you for your insight.
It's your voice, your vote, and breaking this morning, former President Trump has won a second term in the White House. The Associated Press calling that race just within the past hour. Good morning, I'm Adam Longo.
And I'm Adriana Hopkins. This is the latest look at the electoral vote count. A win in Wisconsin put Trump over the top. He secured 277 electoral votes, while Vice President Harris picked up 224. Now, Trump claimed victory around 2:30 this morning at his watch party in West Palm Beach, Florida. In his speech, he told the crowd of supporters it is time to move forward.
Every single day I will be fighting for you, and with every breath in my body, I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have.
All right, I want to show you some live pictures now from Howard University, where Vice President Harris held a watch party for her supporters last night, but the crowd was sent home after it was announced that Harris would not be speaking. Her campaign says she will instead take to the stage sometime today.
And our team coverage continues this morning with Lindsay Mastis. She is at the Alert Desk with a look at what happens next for Trump as he still faces legal battles.
That's right, and I have a live look at Mar-a-Lago right now, and there are some questions about what the results of the election will mean for the legal cases involving Trump and those in his circle. So there is one case that is supposed to be coming up twice. Sentencing in the case involving Stormy Daniels was pushed back. It's currently scheduled for November 26. There is a lot in play here, so the next time that we're going to get a big update on this case is in a week. That's when the court will consider a motion to dismiss the conviction in light of the recent Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity. Meanwhile, there are more legal questions, including about Rudy Giuliani, who is being ordered to court after missing a deadline to surrender many of his belongings. We'll continue to keep you updated on both cases.
Lindsay, thank you. Now that Election Day is over, what's next? Well, tomorrow is when the process of state certification of results begins. On November 11th, that is when the presidential transition briefings begin.
And on December 17th, electors vote. Then on January 6th, electoral votes are ceremonially counted by Congress. That will also mark 4 years since the Capitol riots. And then, of course, January 20th is Inauguration Day. Now, Vice President Kamala Harris will speak later today after sending supporters home from Howard University last night without addressing them.
Our Joy Wang is there live. Joy, security still tight there. Secret Service set to do another security sweep here pretty soon.
we are definitely still seeing that fencing up here at Howard University. Now, overnight, former President Donald Trump, he declared victory, and since then, he's officially been projected as the 47th president of the United States. But Capitol Police, they have been sounding the alarm about post-election violence. So let's get you to the scene here in D.C., because over the past week or so, this is what we have been seeing. Businesses being boarded up. We were also seeing that fencing, that anti-riot fencing around the district, including the White House. You're also taking a live look at some of those boarded up windows right now. ABC News obtained a Capitol Police intelligence assessment that warned of a heightened threat to government officials and election-related sites. Now, the report highlights, quote, likelihood of violence and civil unrest around the 2025 electoral vote certification process and the inauguration. The Capitol Police also expected threats to members of Congress. There's been fewer this year compared to 2020, but officials anticipate a similar trend. Meanwhile, police also concerned about a number of protests, too, that could come up from the war in Gaza, protesting that war in Gaza and foreign influence, specifically when it comes to spreading conspiracy theories. Live at Howard University, Joy Wang, 7 News.
All right, Joy, thank you. Next, we head to Maryland, and another major race that we have been following is the congressional seat for the state's 6th district. It is a very close contest between Democrat April Delaney and Republican Neil Parrott. Reporter John Gonzalez picks up our team coverage from Germantown. John, good morning.
Adriana, good morning. This was a very tight race all night long, and now well into the morning. Still too close to call. No declared winner between Neil Parrott and April McClain Delaney. Both campaigns saying that they are staying cautiously optimistic this morning. But take a look at how close this race is right now. Delaney has the slightest of leads there, you can see, but again, no declared winner just yet as the mail-in ballots are still coming in. This competitive U.S. House race focused on abortion, the economy, and immigration. A mother of 4 daughters, McClain Delaney has campaigned heavily on the protection of reproductive rights and freedoms. 54-year-old Parrott has worked to move the conversation to friendlier terrain, emphasizing his commitment to lowering inflation, creating a stronger economy for the middle class, and stopping illegal immigration. Both candidates spoke just hours ago at their respective election events.
Instead, what we need is someone who's an engineer, someone who likes practical solutions. Someone who, when he's elected, will work for every single person in this district. It doesn't matter if they voted for me or not. It doesn't matter the ethnicity.
Make sure that this whole process plays out, and the mail-in ballots are still outstanding, and so what we have to do is wait for the whole process to play itself out. But I'm feeling very cautiously optimistic and very excited, and I just have to say that it's because of you all.
Delaney, who was born in Idaho, moved to this area after attending Georgetown University. She was an official with the U.S. Department of Commerce during the Biden administration. Parrott is a longtime resident of Hagerstown, a traffic engineer by trade. He says he understands during this campaign why so many are struggling with the economy. Again, this race still too close to call at this hour. Reporting live, John Gonzalez, 7 News.
John, it's just incredible. That race, only just over 300 votes making the difference right now. I want to take you to the other close race that's yet to be called in our area that we're following. That's Virginia House District 7, which runs the I-95 corridor from Prince William County down south through Spotsylvania County. So right now, a difference of about 8,200 votes. If we compare it to what we saw 2 years ago, the Democratic candidate, who is the incumbent Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger, won with 52.2% of the vote to Yesli Vega's 47.6%. Now, I want to take you through county by county and show you what's happening here in the 7th District. I can tell you this, going through the numbers for all the localities, Prince William, Stafford, Albemarle County, Spotsylvania, Eugene, Vindman underperformed in every single one of these jurisdictions compared to Abigail Spanberger 2 years ago. All right, so then why is he ahead right now by more than 8,000 votes? Prince William County is actually the key to this, because what we saw in this race 2 years ago was a lot fewer votes, less voter turnout. So we had 54,000 votes for Abigail Spanberger. So 20,000 more. Eugene Vindman is winning here in Prince William County. Also, let's take a look at the numbers in some of the other spots. So Stafford County, which is another one of these bellwether counties, right? How Stafford goes, the entire race might go. You can see just how close it is. 500 votes making the difference right there. But in 2022, it was a 121 vote difference between the candidates there, with Yesli Vega actually winning there in Stafford County. Adriana?
All right, Adam, thank you for that breakdown. We have Peter Loge, Associate Professor of Media and Public Affairs at George Washington University, back for some more insight. Now, speaking on the national election, Virginia closer than expected. Were you surprised by that?
I was a little bit surprised by that. I think it's a signal that the American people see the country as broken and they want it fixed. You know, the current occupant wasn't fixing it. Take her out, put in the new guy.
Okay. How about Walz as the choice for vice president? Do you think that Harris would have done better with Josh Shapiro out of Pennsylvania, maybe swinging that battleground state that she needed to win?
Maybe. You know, now is the time where everybody says, I told you so. If you'd only taken my advice, why things would have gone differently. And we can't know because you can't rerun the election to find out. Maybe, but who knows?
Yeah. Last question for you. What conversations are Democrats having now? Because I've heard everyone say this is a shellacking to this is a wake-up call, this is a referendum. What conversations are Democrats having?
I think everybody's, again, going to have the I told you so conversations. I'm seeing this on my social media and getting texts saying, if only they'd done the thing I'd said. We need to be more liberal, more conservative, more whatever. I was traveling last week with one of my colleagues who's a young African-American guy, Uber driver, middle-aged African-American guy. Said it was crazy that the Democrats nominated a black woman. America's not ready for that. Let the recriminations begin. 6-8 months, we'll dive into the data and see what happens next.
All right, Peter Loge, always great having you here this morning, sharing your insight. We appreciate your time.
Always fun, always pleasure.
All right, well, you can keep up with the latest results on WJLA.com. Scan this QR code on your screen right now to find our interactive results webpage. You can also find local, state, and national results, and right there on our homepage, we'll also show you race results in real time.